How's it going, Laser Bruises up? I'll be Sixkilla and welcome back to the letter. We've just had that conversation, that awkward ass conversation with Isabella when we took her side after fighting with Becca because Becca was being a big asshole about everything. I still can't understand how you could possibly side with her, frankly, but maybe that's just my bias. I don't know. But Zach is gone and Becca doesn't know, and Isabella kind of knows, I guess, but it wasn't broken very properly. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Galway Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight. With the lively music and chatter, slipping out mostly unseen becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble, soon enough I find myself standing outside, under the chilly Luxbourne night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of an impending rain. I give it about an hour or two before it starts. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket, hugging its thick material closer to my body while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, though I pay it no mind as I hurry towards my car. I nicked it minutes ago from Isabella's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need this damn piece of paper with me. However ridiculous it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed, either. But I can't waste time here, and wait for her to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does. In the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Rebecca turns just as I near, the corners of her mouth twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows, and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless, merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up to the starless sky. When I come up to stand beside her, another gust of wind blows as she breathes out a sigh, weary, thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away while she hugs her arms closer to herself to keep warm, which raises the question why she's out here. The air's already heavy with the promise of rain, with clouds obscuring the view. There's really nothing left to look at but the dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands here as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word, express a disapproval of any kind, she raises a halting hand to me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you. Wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight, I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice, even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
That's true.
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? When in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. If this fails, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have. After this, we have nothing else to go off of. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic and the light draft sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try, but you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. To all of us. And it made me realize plenty of things. About myself, about us.
Rebecca trails off. Suddenly a pensive expression spreads across her face. I've seen it countless times before. And every time I see it on her, it's usually followed by a memory, a silly story, or even something embarrassing I've said from childhood. Unlike me, who will much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. And after a short bout of silence when she smiles, I know this is one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
the royal we, you know.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Mandy was in the wrong, of course. I'll defend her. If no one's gonna stand up for her, who else will? Chances are it would have escalated, and who knows? Maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is what's right. It's as simple as that. Yet she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this time, I don't want this to go unsaid. You know, just in case something happens. Ash, I've always been in love with you.
She says it so plainly, holding my gaze and in a voice too frank that her admission stuns me into silence. Like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me all in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought as the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything that she's kept to herself all of these years. This is what the fondness is. Why, for her, it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, there's a relief, a weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders. After so long, she closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back to me, though, there's nothing but hope in them. Eyes that are searching for an answer. Facing the sincerity behind her words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for the words. Because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's asking from me. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold her feelings that goes beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she's stuck with me even through the toughest moments. Even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, that's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca,
I draw in a breath, ragged, unsure, uncertain how and which words to put together so it'll hurt her less. So the wounds they might leave won't be as deep or scar. Though before I can even string two phrases together, she lifts a hand to my mouth and silences me. A smile's on her face, kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her, it suits her more than glares or frowns. But at the same time, it only serves to baffle me.
You don't have to answer me.
Yeah, but you should... I should...
No, I mean, you don't need to.
Okay, now I'm really confused. One moment you're saying you've been in love with me since secondary, now you're telling me to shut up?
If you want to interpret it like that, all right.
No, really. Some explanation would be nice, Becca. Because a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm afraid I can't catch up. Especially with this curveball you just threw.
It means what it means, Ashton. You don't need to answer me. I don't really need to hear it anymore. It's not that I don't want to. Believe me, if I were the same person I was before this whole thing happened to us, I'd be elated, excited even. But like I said, I also realized some things. Understood myself more. Ash, I did love you. Ever since we were kids, all those times you defended me from bullies. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, even after this. But at the end of the day, once you take a closer look at everything, it also turned me into a really selfish person. When you think about it, Maybe the Ashton I loved isn't the one standing in front of me right now. Maybe all this time, I'm still clinging on to that aloof kid I met 17 years ago. I didn't even consider that you have a mind of your own. That one day, it won't just be the two of us. That you'll find someone else and it won't be me.
I'm sorry, Becca.
I'm not even sure what I'm apologizing for. That I can't return her feelings? Or because I'm somehow holding myself responsible for this, even if up till now I have no idea how she felt. Regardless, she continues to smile through all of it.
It's not your fault. Don't say that. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do, I just thought I should let you know. So I can finally let this whole thing go.
There's a good chance we won't come back alive, so it's probably a good time.
One question though. Are you going to tell her?
Tell what to who?
I pause, frowning, a brief moment of doubt while I try and figure out what she's talking about all of a sudden. You don't know? And it finally sinks in, though my bewilderment hastily gives way to utter embarrassment.
Oh, shit.
Heat abruptly crawls up my face, no matter my efforts to keep it down. In the end, I can only look away from her, afraid of what else she'll see in it.
Did you really think no one would notice?
Was it that obvious?
It was surprisingly easy to tell. But that was probably because I've known you longer than anyone.
Fuck, who else knows?
I think Zach suspects.
Shit.
You're embarrassingly lame when you're trying too hard. It's almost painful to watch. Don't worry. With your terrible way of flirting, and knowing her, I'm quite sure Belle has no idea, even now. Not even a clue.
Harsh, Rebecca. Really harsh. I could use a vote of confidence, you know.
She laughs, loud, the kind that's free of any burden, ringing above the wind slowly picking up as the storm clouds approach. With it, however, the awkward atmosphere lifts at last. There's only the camaraderie that we shared since meeting in that classroom 17 years ago.
I'm serious, though. Tell her, and if you ever make her cry, I'll hit you with every damn history book I have on my shelf. Clear?
Noted, ma'am.
Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you'll be careful, all right?
She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push, with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unawares by the gesture for a few moments, I fight for purchase against my car's trunk, bracing my hand on its smooth surface. When I look up with a string of reprimands ready at the tip of my tongue, Rebecca's already halfway through the parking lot. There's a small skip in her steps, while the breeze carries the light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. It sounds like a new beginning more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. Within 10 minutes, I'm driving out of Luxmont and heading straight for Anselm Village. In the distance, flashes of lightning light up the horizon, white and sharp against the black curtain of the night. Thunder threatens with a rumble, seconds later echoing long across the sky. And with one last roar, the skies open in earnest. Of course, it had to be a dark and stormy night when we actually came to investigate the house. The rainfall in fast, steady sheets creating shallow puddles on the dirt path, drenching everything the eyes can reach. Despite having grown up in the city, I still despise the rain. Living here doesn't mean I have to like it. Lucky me, I've reached the mansion before the downpour has turned torrential. The long slog from Anselm Village by foot has already been made difficult by the light drizzle and biting winds buffeting against my body every few seconds. By the time I found cover under the trees lining the vicinity of the mansion, my shoulders are already drenched. My hair is also sticking against my skin and out in every possible direction. Thankfully, the letter, taser and gun I brought with me has remained relatively dry. That's the most important thing. However, those are the least of my problems at the moment. Sometime after the housewarming party, scumbag Wright had suddenly grown a brain and tightened the security around the mansion. Likely because of what Zach did. The guard is now stationed at every possible point of entry. The main entryway, the back door leading to the kitchens. Hell, it's almost a miracle no one spotted me once I enter the property. Although that's probably because I've kept close to the forest. While I can always create a clever way in for myself, under this deluge, it'll be difficult to do so without making much noise or leaving tracks.
I don't really have the luxury either, do I?
Considering how off this place feels since I've stepped on the property and the mansion came into view. Every light is off, Even with the security personnel on patrol outside, the whole house itself, it feels empty. Eerie. Too quiet. Normally I'd pass it off as some kind of power outage because of the storm. It's not a far off conclusion when this place is almost in the middle of nowhere. However, something just feels wrong.
Something happened here.
Or about to. It's the sole reason why I haven't done anything yet, simply observing, watching, listening, for anything. I might be pressed for time, but I'm not a careless idiot. Although I need a way in, desperately so, moving without thinking will not only endanger me, with so many unknown variables that we're dealing with, I also have to act in the assumption that someone is always in danger, especially in this place. I can't act impetuously. As much as I hate Wright, I'm not about to cause his death because of one thoughtless action. If there's a place he deserves to be at, it's in prison, not a morgue. So when a hoarse, painful sob suddenly rings out above the loud pitter-patter of rain, only then do I stir. A woman. Perhaps a servant? It's coming from the forest? Just right up ahead, in fact, not too far from the house. Regardless, I give the place a quick, wary glance before following the noise. Carefully, keeping to the shadows, one cautious step after another. Louder and louder it goes as I near, until it abruptly turns into a loud, desperate, anguished cry. I break into a run. One nervous hand ready on the gun holstered at my hip, and the other raised for balance as I scurry across the dense understory. Dead leaves crunch under my shoes, but I pay it no mind. There's only the voice, the woman, and nothing. Abruptly it all stops and I'm met with a sudden hush. Blank. Empty. Almost deafening in its stillness, even with my laboured breathing and pounding heartbeats against my ears. Behind me another branch breaks and...
Help me.
Dread surges within me while I spin around and take a hard step back, ignoring the chilly pinpricks crawling at the back of my neck. But before I can even meet her eyes, the world unexpectedly pitches sideways, tilting, and tilting till the ground beneath me finally crumbles. My hands fight for purchase, only to meet air. By then it's too late. My foot slips further and the rest of my body follows. Dark spots blur the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. But more than that are the voices, lacing venom inside every crevice in my head. Murmurs that jeer, scoff and deride. Over. It's because you didn't listen. And over. It's all your fault. And over again. Why won't you believe me? A reminder of what I failed to do, and of who I failed. What I'm trying to desperately fix. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me apart from one. There is only fear. Once again her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. It's the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. And we're in the dungeon, nice. Is Mary Ann still here? Half darkness greets me when my eyes finally snap open, the soft patter of dripping water somewhere spurring my consciousness further. For a few short moments, I remain still, blinking away the dizziness, allowing my vision to adjust to the lack of light and my breathing to even out first before pushing myself up on one arm and attempting to stand. Turning alone is a struggle of its own. An inch of movement sends a stab of sharp pain right up my arms and my back, giving me another pause.
Shit. I hope I didn't break anything. Fuck.
There doesn't seem to be any injury or major fracture, although the whole of my back does feel sore and raw. Probably from when I skidded down prior to landing myself here. A comforting thought. The second attempt comes easier later, though no less painful. And by the time I'm back on my feet, the exertion has left me gasping in short, shallow breaths and leaning heavily on a wall nearest to me. Behind me, a light draft blows in from where I've fallen in, coming in short, sharp bursts into what's apparently an underground tunnel, and brings in the fresh, earthy smell of rain from the topside. Regardless, it fails to mask old, musty scent of a place. A mixture of mold, mildew, dust, grease, and something distinctly foul. Like death. More worrisome than the putrid, festering smell, however, are the cells that line both sides of the tunnel. Under the dim light, I can barely make out what's inside on some of them, but I already have a few ideas, all of which I refuse to delve into at the moment. Knowing how long this mansion has stood, somehow, no matter how unexpected finding the existence of this place is, It isn't too surprising.
I wonder if Scumbag knows about this.
Probably not, unless he's also the kind of person who takes joy in inflicting this kind of suffering on others. I really don't think so. He's rotten to the core, but not that rotten. He'd probably balk at this, move out at the first opportunity and have it demolished. The very idea of what has occurred in this place years ago makes me reel as well. I've known long ago places like this tend to hold secrets. This, though? If this is just the tip of the iceberg, I fear what I may discover in the mansion itself, and the tale behind that fucking letter. But fear is inconsequential. As unpleasant as the sight of this is, this place might also be the only way for me to get inside unnoticed. Sighing and taking one last gulp of clean air, I push away from the wall and delve deeper into the passage.
Let's just hope it'll be smooth sailing from here on.
Turns out that alone is too much to ask for this early. Not 20 paces into it, another sound abruptly rises above my footfalls, rebounding off the hollow walls and echoing inaudibly across the whole span of the tunnel before fading away just as swiftly as it rang. It's Marianne, right? I pause nevertheless, straining my ears for more of it, while I gradually move my hand to my side, slow and steady until the tips of my fingers brush off the gun's handle. Although cold against my skin, it's the closest thing I have to comfort at the moment. For a long minute I wait, holding my breath, watching every form, edge, and shadow at the corners of my vision for any movement. After a heartbeat and nothing, I allow the tension to ease out of me, in the form of a long, slow exhale that reverberates around the whole passage.
Who's there?
Perhaps because of what happened earlier, and how I've ended up here, or maybe it's because of my training. But in spite of the panic and fear in that voice, I don't immediately answer. Instead, I pull my gun free from its holster and wordlessly draw closer to where the voice rings out once again. Afraid. Frantic. Weak?
I'm asking you a question. Who's there?
It's only after I've released the safety do I answer, while continuing my approach in a careful, steady pace.
I think I should be the one asking you that. Who are you? Show yourself!
I can't. I'm stuck in here.
Well, a ghost would definitely not be saying that, or have a conversation like this, or be stuck anywhere. As if to prove her point, she extends a hand from one of the cells ahead and waves. Then she pulls back, grips the iron bars and rattles it lightly.
I can't get out. Can you help?
In 5 quick steps, I'm standing in front of the cell, and sure enough, a woman's inside. Slumped on the floor, holding the bars with shaking hands, clinging to it as if it's the only thing keeping her upright. And not just any woman.
You? McLaughlin?
The same one I met at G's 5 days ago, smashed drunk and babbling her frustrations about her employers.
Holmes?
No, not McLaughlin. McCullough. Marianne McCullough, famous interior designer extraordinaire. Not so extraordinary now, with how exhausted and feeble she looks, trapped in a jail cell of all things. Her breathing's shallow and there's a paleness in her complexion. Sunken eyes, cracked lips, dry skin. All signs pointing to starvation and dehydration. How long's she been here? Can't be more than a day or two.
What? How long have you been stuck in here?
3 days? 4? I don't know. I have no idea anymore. I just fell in and that woman... Whatever. Can you get me out of here? Please.
In a moment. But here, go feed yourself first before you fall over.
I fish out an energy bar from my pocket and hand it to her. She's lucky I always have one on my person. I think it's the water that'd be the real problem. For sudden emergencies or extended stakeouts, a little sugar to keep me going. Like any starving person, she wastes no time making a grab for it, unwrapping it straight away and taking in whole mouthfuls of it. Relief washes over her face on the first bite alone, although she's going to need more than that, if what she said is true. But for the moment, it's enough to keep her alive. Good thing she seems to have the sense to prioritize survival over comfort, if the puddle on the corner of the cell indicates anything. Without water, the human body can only survive for 3 days. No food and it will give an average of 3 weeks, though even then, it won't be a pretty experience. Granted, some have survived longer than that. She's still fortunate I found her when I did. Now to get her out. My bobby pins won't be any use here, not like I need it. Unlike the ones we have at the precinct, a small barrel hinge holds the gates in this cell together. Even without any special tools, I'll be able to lift the door and free her. However, with how heavy it seems, I'll need a lever of some sort to help.
What are you looking for?
Some wood, a 2x4, I guess, a plank or a pipe, anything I can use as a lever. Wait here.
The hallway yields nothing but dust, dirt and a few rusted chains scattered about. While I may find something in one of the open cells, I'm reluctant to check or even step in. We can't have another person trapped here. However, McCullough ended up inside.
Well, there's no.
My head snaps back to her. McCullough extricates a wooden board from under the mess of hay and twine near her. Looks like a stocks thing. Without prompting, she slips it through what little space there is between the bars. In short, it appears to be thick and sturdy enough for my intended purpose, upon closer inspection.
Good enough.
I hope. I get to work at once, anchoring the other end of the plank at the base of the door and applying ample force on the other end. It takes a bit of effort, no kidding about the heavy part. Still, a grunt, a gasp, a creak. In a matter of minutes, with a little help from her on the other side, the door eventually lifts off its hinges. It falls to the ground with a loud, ugly, metallic thud, but the sound of it puts elation on McCullough's face. She doesn't even ask for help. As soon as she can, she hastily crawls out of the prison she has accidentally found herself in. More than happy to get out of it, despite lacking the strength to stand firmly on her feet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. After the second day, I was so sure I was going to die in there. If you didn't show up, today, I don't even want to think about it.
How did you even end up here?
For a second she appears hesitant, looking away and fumbling awkwardly with her fingers.
I was looking for something. Someone.
A contemplative expression flickers in her eyes, something that's close to wistful, like when a person remembers a memory she's fond of. It doesn't last too long, but it still leaves me the impression that I've suddenly walked into something private. Something deeply personal for her. I'd rather not ask.
So this whole tunnel, at the end of it, it leads right inside the mansion?
The wine cellar.
Right into the kitchen, then.
There's a door of some sorts. I don't know. I think I pulled or pressed something somewhere. I was in a hurry, and I'm not sure if it'll open from this side. Hell, this place wasn't even in the floor plans!
We'll find out.
What do you mean?
Does that really matter now? We have to get out of here! People died in this place! Kids! Oh god! Kids! I could have shown you, but that thing won't turn back on anymore. It's like it only waited for me to see it before shutting down or something. How long has that thing even been in there? But those poor kids. All because of that thing.
Wait, hold on. What are you talking about right now?
The bloody letter! Ever since I've read that thing, since that day at the open house, she won't leave me. But it should be fine now, right? I broke it. I broke all of it. She shouldn't be able to do anything now.
Broke all of what, exactly?
Nicola, one at a time.
It's all that fucking paper's fault! Oh god. Oh god. Dear Lord in St. Adelaide, bless those poor souls. We're not safe here. We need to leave. If we stay here any longer...
I'm down for that, but we gotta investigate the mansion.
Nicola!
Abruptly, she stops, looking back at me with wild, panic-stricken eyes. I've seen enough of it so many times these past few days, from my own friends even. To know she has seen things, the kind that'll easily make any person go mad. And perhaps we slowly are. The longer this takes, the faster our descent into it becomes. I can't even tell which one's worse, death or this. Seems like no matter what we end up with, there'll be something horrible waiting for us. I need to hurry.
Listen, I need to get inside this place, and you're more familiar with its layout. If you can help me...
What? No! Why would I go back? Are you sure you haven't gotten raving mad yet? An exit's right here.
And this business with the letter has to end at some point. Look, I know you're not very fond of Luke Wright.
Damn right I'm not. He can just go.
But are you really sure you want to leave him like this? And what about his wife?
It strikes a chord. She falters. She's pretty fond of his wife. Grows quiet as the tension lifts from her and her shoulders slump. I do understand her issues with this. In fact, she doesn't have to go with me. Only tell me enough info so I can figure it out on my own. She can always leave afterwards. Be done with this whole damn mansion and letter. The other end of this tunnel leads right into the forest. It'll provide ample cover for her to be able to slip out of the property unnoticed. All the same, she steels herself and squares her shoulders.
Just until the kitchens.
That's more than enough.
She nods, albeit weakly. Then without another word, she gestures for me to follow, leading me further into the passage. Occasionally she'll stop, find purchase on the wall to catch her breath, but throughout the short walk, she asks for neither a break nor assistance. I suppose that's something we have in common. Eventually, we get to a dead end. Although before I can question her on it, she begins palming for something on the wall, tracing her fingers along weathered edges of the bricks with a frown on her face.
It should be somewhere here, I think.
What the hell are you doing?
She merely holds up a hand, begging for my silence, and continues searching. Then, without warning, a few minutes later, something clicks. A portion of the wall shifts ajar to reveal a glimpse of another room. Bottles lining the walls, liquor barrels for aging. The wine cellar, indeed.
The ladder to the kitchen is on the far end of this room.
Surreal. This is all nothing but a surreal nightmare. But after everything, should this even surprise me? Ghosts, curses, hidden passages? I can't even bring myself to question the existence of this door anymore. I simply follow her into the undercroft without a single question, in spite of a number of them already swimming inside my head. As a kid, I used to crave for this kind of adventure. The stuff of mystery and detective novels, daring chases, interesting cases to solve, suspects to put behind bars, justice to serve. I was blinded, I admit. Now I simply want this to be over. We leave the door open in case there's a need for a quick exit, especially after she mentions it's only by chance she's been able to open the door last time. We can't waste time finding the switch again, on the occasion something goes horribly wrong. There's bound to be. With me feeling this high-strung and tense, I'm not even sure why I thought it'd be a good idea to enlist McCullough's help. Although she has been quite helpful so far, I can't shake off the horrible feeling that something's going to happen to her if she stays with me. Even if I'm her safest bet if she wants to get out of this place alive.
You really believe that, don't you?
Did you say something?
McCullough pauses mid-step, turning to me confused.
I didn't.
You sure? I just heard...
Don't you think I'll be the first person who'll know? Look, the ladder leading to the kitchen's up ahead. You might want to hurry. I just want to be done with this place.
That's fair.
See? You dragged another one.
This time I'm sure. There's really a voice, well, voices. Despite the look of protest McCullough shoots me, I find myself stooping and looking for it, searching the immediate surroundings for the familiar form of the woman. I don't even have to venture far from where I'm standing. Just an arm's length away from me, mirror shards litter the floor. And right on the biggest fragments, they speak. All singing the same mocking tune against my ears, letting it echo throughout the small undercroft. Murmurs and laughters, jeering, scoffing, deriding, lacing venom into every crevice in my head, taunting me.
You dragged another person into this, Ashton.
Into another one of your silly little problems.
You really haven't changed, have you? Some hero you are.
Useless.
Pathetic.
You're wrong.
My mistake lies in this first instance I've answered. The very second denial has slipped from my mouth, their words have also seeped into my heart, allowing it to prod at and rouse my temper. Despite knowing they're merely doing this to goad me, each word, each syllable trickle into me, spurring the guilt I hope I've long buried.
Are we? Or is that simply what you've been telling yourself all this time? Something to make yourself feel better, perhaps?
What about Zach? Wrongfully accused. And you couldn't even get him out.
Someone's dead because of you.
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
How does it feel, I wonder? To know you're responsible for all of this?
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Oh, but you can't. It's already too late. And you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure. And they are the ones who have to pay for it.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke Wright to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together. No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Shut it!
I hate this. I hate how this monster can easily get through me. Every weakness, every insecurity it knows, to hear it said in my friend's voice, even more so. But what I hate above all of it is...
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it.
You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to say anything.
Shut it! Not a single word anymore.
It laughs, sharp and piercing. At its sound, something in me snaps, a rage hastily unfurling, red filling my vision, and the next thing I know, I'm raising my hand and something grabs at my wrist, followed by a buzz as another voice breaks through the haze.
Don't listen to it!
The fog from my mind lifts. Every sound, every noise returns to me. Flooding my every senses. All at once, there is this deafening silence. Slowly I become aware of my surroundings. Bottles of wine, barrels of liquor, the faint old scent of death and decay somewhere, and a hand holding onto my wrist, as if to keep me from hurting myself. In my hands, a shard. Blood drips from where it has cut my palm, trailing down my wrist till it disappears behind my sleeve. Not too deep, negligible even. There is a pain, however, a different kind. An ache somewhere else that stems not from the wound, but where every single word is hit. When I glance up at McCullough, she merely stares at me with wide, horrified eyes. Alright, we better wrap this one up here. I don't know if I could say it's going well, but we saved Marianne. That's a good start. Prison break. She's free. Maybe she'll even survive. I don't know. Maybe we'll even survive. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something here before Luke has the butler guy beat the shit out of me. Only one way to find out. You'll find out in the next one. Till then, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.